Good morning and welcome to BBOC Live, presented by DraftKings. It's 10:30 a.m. Eastern, and this is the Saturday college football betting preview. I'm Stuckey, and joining me, as always, my fellow BBOC co-hosts, Collin Wilson, Mike Calabrese, and the one and only Josh Nunn, aka Duck. Quick show today. We're gonna go through, there's 8 bowl games today. We'll go through two best bets each. We'll build our Sling TV parlay, and then we will get out of here. Quick PSA on Wednesday, I believe Wednesday is New Year's Eve. We will have our college football playoff quarterfinal live show. Additionally, our bowl betting preview part 4 just came out on the Big Bets on Campus podcast. Wherever you listen to podcasts, we cover all of the bowl games on December 30th and December 31st and the first college football playoff game between which game did we cover? I forget already. Ohio State, Miami. On part 5, which will be out Monday, we will cover a new batch of bowls and the 3 additional college football playoff quarterfinal games. Also, we'll be dropping quick slip links into the YouTube chat. You can use those to quickly and easily add our picks to your bet slip if you want to follow along. Gentlemen, it is a bittersweet day. We have college football to bet on, but it is the last Saturday with college football for the next 245 days. So enjoy those games today. Enjoy the couch or the bar stool or wherever you're at. Uh, Before we get started here with our first best bets, Calabrese, I know that you gifted a for Christmas, you gave a few people a parlay. I love that gift idea. I like giving people like futures tickets. Um, People that I know that bet. But what did you give Duck, our producer, and a few other people?
So we gave out James Madison plus 21 and a
Three
half,
hundred
which,
dollar ticket as a gift to a couple people.
yeah, and it was, split it up afterwards. So instead of $100 gift, it could have been a $600 gift. James Madison plus the points. They almost go down
Epic
42.
cover.
Yeah, miraculous cover there. Hawaii money line down 21 nothing. As I tweeted out, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Everyone was stuck around for that game. The Bows come back in dramatic fashion. The weave heave at the end of that one. And then the last leg, New Mexico plus 2.5, and they lose in overtime by 3, missing on the parlay by the hook. But we all got to go on the ride. We all got to sweat it out together. It was brutal though, and as you brought it up, Stuck, when New Mexico is down by 8, they score a touchdown, they go for 2. A part of me was like, maybe they don't get this, and Minnesota just sits on it, and we end up winning by the hook. Instead, they get it, goes to overtime, they kick the field goal with some really poor play calling in overtime. Going with a quarterback sweep to the short side with an opportunity to extend that drive was not the right call. And then the final play of the game, the safety slips. If he doesn't, he probably knocks that ball away or intercepts it in the end zone. So you can't really be all that mad, though. James Madison was absolutely dead if they go down 42 against Oregon, but just a miraculous comeback and cover for the Dukes in that situation.
Tough Christmas break. But yeah, I mean Drake Lindsay should have had like 6 picks that game. That Minnesota team, I don't know how they won 8 games. They probably should have won like 5. But credit to PJ Fleck. They show up to bowls. Like you could tell they were prepared. Anthony Smith, credit to him. We have this Penn State Clemson disaster coming up here where they're like Clemson's down 30 guys. Penn State is down like 10, 12 stars. The word is like some of the guys that are actually playing. I mean, they're playing one offensive lineman. Some of the guys that are actually playing are just maybe going to play a little bit. Disaster. And that game could have been fun too, like Penn State, Clemson, for in the snow and in the Bronx. But what a disaster! But Anthony Smith, who's coming back next year, so I guess it makes more sense now. But he dominated that game, and he had that. I mean, he had what 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and then he sniffed out that fake punt. If he wasn't there, that thing I think would have went for a touchdown. So credit to him and credit for to Fleck for a perfect 7-0 record in bowl games. The other bowl games yesterday, we've had some ugly games. I mean, we had FIU jump out to a 14-0 lead. go and then get run out 57-6. They went 1 of 10 on fourth down. That has to be a bowl record. But if you're going to go down a bowl game, go down like that. Go for it 10 times on fourth down. The one thing I will say, something that I need to personally pay more attention to, is FIU had a couple of linemen out, and some of these lower level schools, they just have no depth on their offensive line. That used to be the case in the past, but it's especially true now, and that can just wreck, just absolutely wreck an offensive game plan. I think you saw a bit of that with FIU, but credit to Jeff Traylor and UTSA. I think Traylor was sandbagging a little bit with our team is going to be a shell of itself, and Owen McCown looked good. He's coming back next year, so credit to the Roadrunners and Meat for getting it done. Duck, any key takeaways or commentary from the bowl so far?
Fun games yesterday. I think Central Michigan fumbled again just as we're talking. So
It felt like they gave that game. It was
it
like
was unreal.
in like 2 minutes. I went to make lunch, and then it was like, oh, this game's going to be finished like 7-3, and then it was 21-0.
Yeah, I mean, probably didn't deserve the cover anyway, but it really got out of hand quickly. And Griffin Wilde is such a stud for Northwestern. He'll be back next year, name to watch. Um, UTSA, man, they showed up after digging themselves into a 14-0 hole. I saw a couple guys push across a live bet on UTSA. I had the team total over. It was really sweat free at the end of that one, which was nice. Yeah, pretty fun games, and we got a loaded slate today, so ready to roll here. You said it off air, but 245 days until the next Saturday with college football. It's the shortest regular season. It's the greatest sport on earth. It goes by way too quickly every year. You blink and you're in week 7. You blink again, you're in conference championship weekend. There's going to be a lot of waiting coming up, a lot of off-season prep, so we're going to enjoy these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, especially today because you're going to have a window, the last one, where you have Connecticut Army at 2:15. You'll have the noon game still going. Georgia Tech BYU at 3:30. Miami of Ohio Fresno at 4:30. So North Texas San Diego State at 5:45. So you'll have the last window where there's multiple games. You'll have multiple screens going, and then we're into college basketball season. By the way, we will have live shows. Podcast is already going there for Big Bets on Campus for college basketball through the NCAA tournament. So stay tuned there because that's what's going to fill our Saturdays from here through April. Collin, any commentary on any of the bowls this week or
No,
anywhere you want to go?
I had won 14 and 15 in a row, and yesterday was a push with New Mexico plus 3 and a loss with. I knew at 14-0 I should probably be buying out of FIU. That window closed fast, so I'm ready to get back up on the horse today.
Yeah, the FIU secondary without 4 all-conference players. Again, some of these teams they just have no depth, and the drop-off was massive. All right, let's get to today's games. We'll start with our first best bet. Collin, kick things off. What do you got?
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Army's playing, which means they'd like to show up to a bowl, and then a slate full of games where some teams may not show up. Army definitely is. They always do. Jeff Monken's going to take on an interim staff of UConn. That's going to get me to take Army team total over here. UConn without Fagnano, wide receiver Skylar Bell, down to quarterback number 4. It puts a massive dent in their offensive numbers. No matter who's playing or not, it's not going to be as efficient of an offense, and it's going to be easier to keep off the field and let Army have these long, sustained drives like they like to do in bowl games. And even though UConn hasn't had many departures on defense, they're terrible at defending the run. They're dead last in step
Horrendous.
rate. They're below 40% success rate against every single run concept that Army's going to put out there today. I will always live in my brain the Army 10 possessions, 10 touchdowns against Houston in a bowl. That's just the way that they roll under Munkin. And today I think they're going to get over 25.5.
Most points ever scored in a bowl, making sure that, yeah, UTSA didn't break that record last night, was Army against Houston. I think they won 70-14, which was the largest margin of victory in a bowl game prior to Georgia destroying Florida State a couple years ago. But yeah, you mentioned, I think Skylar Bell is going to go for UConn, but how much is he actually going to play? Does he play the whole game? Does he play a quarter? Does he play a half? I still don't know who's playing quarterback for UConn. Bell's apparently like trying to convince people to play. Fagnano's not going to at quarterback. Almost the entire offensive line is in the portal. tight ends, Cam Edwards, a running back's going to play, but this team's to shelve itself with an interim staff, and we've seen some teams with interim staffs look very messy. And you mentioned the UConn run defense.
Hmm.
Just look their game against Ball State, who runs a quasi option type offense. They almost lost at home to Ball State, who put up 25 points. It's a Ball State team that usually takes 4 games to score 25. They went to Rice, an option offense. They lost 37 to 34. They if Air Force's quarterback doesn't get hurt, Air Force ran for I think 220 in the first half against them. So this is a team that just cannot defend the run. And Army is going to show up. No opt-out risk. They show up to every game. Death, taxes, service academies, and bowl games. 70.5% against the spread historically in bowl games. 18-3 against the spread run for service academies. So yeah, you can usually count on Army showing up. Calabrese, what are you looking at today?
Well, first, I do love the Service Academy play because if you hit the transfer portal, you're AWOL. The MPs come and get you. You'll be lucky to get thrown in the stockade, if not shot at that point. So I appreciate in the madness of college sports right now that at least we can rely on the Service Academies to keep everybody together and focused. For my play here, I'm going with the Thomas Jefferson Bowl. For those not in the know, he designed Virginia's campus, and then Mizzou basically modeled their campus on his original design. But I'm sticking with my conference championship fade strategy. The losing team, particularly if that team could have won and gone to the college football playoff, I like to fade. That's exactly what the Cavs have here. Drink claims that there's going to be very few opt-outs for the Tigers here, but 5 key starters may end up opting out or only playing, as Stuck has brought up multiple times, a couple plays and then hitting the sideline for Virginia. Mizzou, by the way, really just comes down to their offensive strategy, which revolves around giving Ahmad Hardy as many touches as he can handle in this game. Just a quick shout out on the prop market. For him to hit 200 yards in this game, you can get almost 7-1 out in the market. I would absolutely pull the trigger on that because it seems as though for a guy like him who's going to be back next year, this is a showcase opportunity, even just to inflate his, NIL opportunities. So I think they're going to feed him with Zollers as the quarterback because the market, in my opinion, at least overreacted a little bit to him being named the starter for this game instead of Perbula. And a part of it is that he doesn't have, as many receivers that he has familiarity with, but he had all the bowl practices leading up. I know that Kirby Moore is out as his play caller, but Drinkwitz has called plays before. So I think that's a little bit overblown. I think this is just an Ahmad Hardy game where he goes absolutely nuts. I'll lay the 4.5 with Mizzou against a Virginia team that we talked about it all season long. They had the voodoo going for them. They won every close game, every kind of 50-50 play down the stretch in fourth quarters or overtimes seemingly went their way until the ACC championship game. I think the magic has run out. I think they're going to be in deep water here against an SEC team with an elite offensive player. I'm going to back Hardy and the Tigers.
Yeah, and it looks like Missouri, they didn't list. It looks like all the guys like Zion Young, Wilson, like that. It looks like they're going to play and suit up. And I'm not sure on. It doesn't look like Terrell Harris is going to play. That's important for Virginia's wide receiver room, and potentially they might be without Taylor as well. But this could be a huge Hardy game. Duck, what are you looking at today?
Let's go North Texas, San Diego State under 53.5. We're going to see a slow-paced game from the Aztecs, a ton of running. San Diego State's top 2 receivers are out in Jordan Napier and Jacob Bostic, and we're also not going to see quarterback Denegal as he had surgery last week and is not playing here. So it's going to be Burt Emanuel, almost entirely a running quarterback, doesn't throw it very well. Even with UNT seeing Mestamaker play in this game, the cast around him is going to be limited. I doubt we see Caleb Hawkins, who had 23 rushing touchdowns, 1,236 rushing yards. Several receivers are still up in the air on if they're going to play or not. And I wonder with the orchestrator of the fast tempo offense, Morris, off to Oklahoma State, if they run as much high octane tempo in this game or if they do it for the full 60 minutes. Either way, San Diego State's defense is legitimately nasty at the G5 level, 5th nationally in yards per play, 1st in yards per pass allowed, 2nd in preventing explosive plays. I think that defense shows up and controls the terms here, controls the line of scrimmage. Should be a fun back and forth game, but I think this one will stay under the total, so we're going to under 53.5.
Yeah, San Diego State is just going to try to rely on their defense. I doubt Chris Johnson plays. Their stud cornerback is probably the best G5 cornerback in the country. Their beat writer confirmed everyone else but him. Didn't say whether he's not. He didn't say he's not going to play, but he didn't confirm he will. So I doubt he plays. They might miss him, but the defense still has a lot of dudes. Here's why this also has some upside, and I've been waiting on let's see, you can get sevens out there on San Diego State right now. I've been waiting on that because of I mean, all the news with North Texas. You just assume that, their coach left, that Mestamaker is not going to play. A bunch of the other guys are going to sit out. But all the news has been positive, and all the news has been that they're going to play. It might be NIL related. We might have like a Cam Ward situation. Or like Mestamaker plays a couple drives, a couple of the guys play a couple drives, and then they're out of there. So I think that there's some upside there with both the dog and the total, because I wouldn't be shocked if Mestamaker doesn't play. I mean, I can't. Why would he play this entire game and risk injury before he heads out, presumably into the transfer portal? So yeah, I like that play for sure. And before we move on to our parlay of the day, I'll toss it to a slightly younger version of myself for a word on our sponsor, DraftKings. The podcast is sponsored by DraftKings, and in partnership with DraftKings, our listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy Sports and still have the shot to win cash prizes. To get started, use promo code BBOC when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code BBOC when signing up and bet $5 to get 200 back in bonus bets if your bet wins. The crown is yours. All right. We all have that friend or family member who doesn't bother with college football until the playoffs. They aren't as big of fans as we are, and that's okay. But now that these big matchups are coming, they might be wondering how they can enjoy the action. If you've tuned into any of our bowl preview episodes, you know the best way to not miss a single moment of the college football playoffs is with Sling TV. So tell those folks with Sling TV that Sling TV has them covered. With Sling TV, you can take full control with flexible packages of 1, 3, and 7-day passes for access to 30 plus live channels, which includes ESPN and TNT. So you're covered for the Orange Bowl, the Rose Bowl, the Cotton Bowl, and more. If you try out a 7-day pass, you'll get not only all the upcoming quarterfinal games, but access immediately to today's bowl games. So with that, let's cook up an all-day parlay for today's games. Our Sling TV parlay. Collin, kick us off.
Yeah, let's go with the over in Georgia Tech and BYU, a game where both teams should absolutely care. And whether LJ Martin is there or not, there's no way the Georgia Tech defense is stopping methodical drives led by Bear Bachmeier. BYU is fourth in the nation in creating quality drives. Georgia Tech's defensively 88th in stopping them. So expect BYU to be in scoring position frequently, especially because this Georgia Tech defense does not cause any havoc whatsoever. Buster Faulkner's not there as the offensive coordinator for Georgia Tech, but Chris Winkie will be, and I believe that Haynes King and Jamal Haynes won't see any resistance whatsoever. All this counter, all this power, that is something that BYU is not really defended very well, either of those run concepts. There's just major advantages offensively in standard down success rate. Both offenses are top 12 in the nation in red zone scoring. So if they get the opportunity, expect touchdowns, not field goals. And I like the over in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Calabrese, what do you got?
I'm going to stick here in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Give me the money line on the Ramblin' Wreck. I love them as a dog because of their style of play. You get gritty quarterback play out of Haynes King, and we know that he's healthy, at least coming into this one. And Brett Key as a dog historically has been fantastic. Since taking over as the head coach in Atlanta, 13-5 against the spread as a dog, 9-9 straight up. So 9 upset wins there. And they've also handled late game pressure really well this season. You can see this with some uneven schedules at the P4 level. A lot of teams just cruise to their victories, and if they lose by double digits. So they don't handle those pressure, high leverage situations late in games. When you look at Georgia Tech, beat Clemson by 3, overtime win against Wake, a late rushing touchdown by King to knock off Colorado earlier in the season. So they're seasoned in that regard. And I have my major questions about BYU. Without LJ Martin, how much have they really game planned without him this season? Not much. He was the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. He was the entire engine. Now Bear is going to be, sitting in the pocket with potentially a dinged up ankle. He had a walking boot at one point. How much is he going to have on his shoulders this season? I think it's a big swing in terms of his usage in this particular game. So I would love to take, Georgia Tech plus the points here at 4, and then certainly on the money line, I'll add that in at plus 155 for our parlay.
Yeah, key as a dog. I'm on Tech here too. That I mean, BYU, LJ Martin's a huge loss. It's just not the same team when he's not on the field. His backup is out as well. And the only thing I worry about with Tech is how much was Faulkner worth. We will find out today, but I think Tech is the right side. Like them as a money line piece. Duck, what do you got?
Let's go Houston on the money line. There's a long opt-out list for LSU, Nussmeier, Manzoor, Delane. Their corner's not going to go. Numerous defensive players, 3 or 4 linebackers, possibly 4 or 5 receivers that are going to opt out for LSU. I think Houston defensively can do some things to really limit what this LSU group is capable of doing offensively. Very thin offensive group here. I think Houston shows up for this one. They haven't won a bowl game since 2022. Be the first bowl win for Willie Fritz. To get to that would be really important for them in the Texas Bowl. The Coug opt-outs are concerning here, or the potential opt-outs offensively. They could have some weapons out, Kozoil, the tight end, and then also Dean Connors, running back. But I would assume, despite that Houston wins the war in the trenches on both sides against a really depleted LSU team. We should know right away who the motivated team is here.
Yeah, this could play out similar to a bowl game a couple of years ago. Edo got fired. LSU had a ton of opt-outs. Brian Kelly came in to watch, and they got their doors blown off by Kansas State. Similar situation here. Funny enough, the interim for LSU is going to Ole Miss after this game. But I will throw out San Diego State money line. I think there's just some variance here with who plays for North Texas and how long. You have a running dog here with a nasty defense. Let's go with the Aztecs. So our all-day parlay presented by Sling TV is Georgia Tech BYU over, Georgia Tech money line, Houston money line, and San Diego State money line. Before we get out of here, one final best bet at the horn presented by DraftKings. I forgot to give my first best bet, so I'll kick things off. We'll do 5 best bets here. I'm going with Miami of Ohio. I think the opt-outs aren't as bad as I initially thought. Chuck Martin came out and said we thought we were going to have 7 to 10 guys. It looks like it's only 3 now. They are impactful. Adam Trick, I assume, is not playing. He's getting $1 million offers in the portal. He's super valuable. Their best offensive lineman is going to be out as well. I assume Han Drew also at linebacker. But Cam Perry's going to play. He's a walking explosive. And this is mainly, I just think this line is too high. I mean, this Fresno offense, it looks like they're going to start Conklin. They are incapable of moving the ball. And Miami of Ohio is not going to give up explosives. Like, can Fresno actually sustain drives? And this game could end like 10-9. Here are the quarterbacks Fresno has beat since October 1st. Xavier Ward, the third string from San Jose State. Caden Anderson. Have you watched the Wyoming offense? Max Cutforth, who had to come in early without reps. It's the backup for Boise. And Carter Jones. That's the 4 quarterbacks they beat since October 1st. So, and by the way, have you watched the Mountain West? I mean, Ohio dominated UNLV. So I'm going with Miami, Ohio. I think too many points, big special teams edge as well for Miami. Chuck Martin will have them ready. They got blown out in the MAC championship last year, showed up for a bowl out west and destroyed Colorado State. Collin, your final best bet? What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, there's no way all of you are allowed to bet San Diego State without my blessing. That's my team. I'm going San Diego State. I don't want to repeat anything.
Explosive and vertical with Bert Emanuel today.
It's the greatest quote in San Diego State Aztec history. I just want to add one thing about Bert Emanuel Jr. taking over quarterback duties. Like, this could be a long, methodical offense because they've been slow for some reason under Sean Lewis. I don't know why. We'll figure that out. But the North Texas, I don't care who plays on the offensive side. The North Texas defense is atrocious against the rush. 111th in defensive rushing success rate, 124th in line yards. No one's going to stop Bert Emanuel from running wherever and giving us all those good vibes that we had when he was at Central Michigan. So I'm with everybody on San Diego State.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Lewis, known for Flash Fast at Kent State, he goes, I mean, credit to him, but he goes to San Diego State, and this team, I mean, he's basically turned into like Rocky Long, Brady Hoke, Chuck. Like, he's basically turned into like what every San Diego State coach is. They don't just like run the ball, punt it, and then rely on a nasty defense. It's pretty funny what has happened to Lewis and that team, but they really relied on that defense all year to get it done, and it is a nasty unit if you haven't seen him play. Unfortunately, I don't think Johnson's going to play, but if he does, check him out. A corner that'll play at the next level. Calabrese, final best bet?
Well, first, shout out to the Clemson social media team. They sent like a bunch of specialists, including their long snapper, to take the New York City subway around in full uniform, and they were trying to draw people off the line of scrimmage at like the subway platforms. It was awesome. They clearly are having a good time, and I think that's emblematic of the atmosphere that Dabo kind of creates, which is we're still gonna have fun. They played hard down the stretch, winning their last 4 games to get to a bowl game here. I think they clearly have more juice. I understand that they're down a ton of players as well. But I think this is going to be a low scoring game, under 47.5. Does Penn State have any difference makers left at this point? Will anyone who has a pulse on the offensive side of the ball play more than 15 snaps? Because we already got major opt outs like Durant, Singleton, Wheatley. Fat Allen, if he doesn't play this whole game, he seems like a perfect candidate to maybe do one drive or two and then sit on the sideline. You also have a coaching staff that has been a bit in disarray really the last couple of weeks. And this Clemson team, I just think with Tom Allen as their defensive coordinator, he knows this offensive staff from Penn State, or at least what their identity used to be. So I think this is going to play out on the frozen tundra of Yankee Stadium up in the Bronx. I think it's going to be a snoozer, like a 28-10 win for Clemson. I think the first time that any player who potentially could make millions in the portal get crushed into that icy concrete on that field level, they're going to go, I don't want to play football anymore. So I think you're going to see a lot of third and fourth stringers in this game, not many explosives. I'll go under 47.5.
Yeah, Clemson, by the way, going for what a record 15 straight postseason victories, which is an FBS record. So I do think that they'll show up. I'm looking at Clemson live. If I'm hoping that Penn State jumps out early because I do expect a number of their key players that are suiting up to maybe play a couple drives and get out of there. So I would love to get Clemson live if they go down against Penn State. But I do like that underlook as well. Duck, you have another underlook today?
Yeah, just went on sale. It was 41.5 all week and now 42.5 LSU and Houston. Both these offenses are going to operate at a really methodical, slow pace, and they both really struggle to move the ball with explosive plays. LSU 134th in explosive play rate, 122nd in explosive rushing, and 112th in havoc allowed. This team is going to struggle to run the ball here. They're not a strong pass protecting team. And now without Nussmeier and all the receivers, I just do not see how this team moves the ball through the air. Similar situation with Houston. This team's going to line up and run the football here. I don't know that we'll see a lot of pass explosiveness from the Cougars. They were just 124th nationally in pass success rate. This is going to be a slow burning grinder, has 16-10 written all over it. Red zone defense is going to be real key here, too. Houston's red zone D, 38 trips against them, only 17 touchdowns allowed. I think there's a lot of empty trips for LSU, or they'll be kicking field goals in the red zone. Let's go 17-9 final.
All right. And my final best bet, when in doubt, go with the Service Academy. Death, taxes, and Service Academies and bowls. Give me Army. That'll do it for us. Thank you to Collin, Mike, and Duck for joining me. Thanks to our sponsors, DraftKings and Sling TV. Thanks to our producers on the back end. Most importantly, thanks to all of you for tuning in. Check out Big Bets on Campus podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. Bowl Betting Preview Part 4 just came out. Part 5 will be out on Monday. We'll cover the entire college football playoff and the remaining bowl games. It is the last Saturday with college football for the next 245 days. Enjoy the games. Good luck on all of your wagers. Live show special New Year's Eve for the college football playoff. We'll see you there. Good luck on all of your bets today. We'll catch y'all later.